Welcome to the Creative and Ambitious Entrepreneur Podcast.
My name is Jen Clark.
And I'm Elka Clark. We are a mother-daughter team who started our Zazzle e-commerce businesses over 10 years ago and have sold $15 million and counting of products on Zazzle with our designs on them.
We had so many people asking us how we did this, so we created our signature course, the Profit by Design Academy, which teaches our 5 strategies for success on Zazzle.
When we aren't helping creative entrepreneurs just like you create profitable e-commerce businesses, we love cooking food from places all over the world that we've traveled to, jet setting to our next dream destination, spending quality time with our close friends and family, or having fun creating our next bestsellers in our Zazzle businesses.
In this podcast, we share actionable steps you, the creative, can take to make money in your e-commerce business on Zazzle. Each episode will take you one step closer to achieving freedom with your time, location, and finances.
We believe that you can have anything you dream of, as long as you work smarter, not harder. And we're here to give you the tools you need to make your dreams happen. Let's get started. Well, hey there, it's Elka.
I'm Jen, and in this week's episode of the Creative and Ambitious Entrepreneur Podcast, we are talking about how to make $5,000 a month online using Zazzle.
And Zazzle is one of these great discoveries that we made 13 years ago, where we realized it's not just an online shopping platform that people can go and buy cool stuff online, but it's also a way for designers who are creative, like if you're a photographer, artist, graphic designer, surface pattern designer, you name it, you can make money on Zazzle by posting up your products for sale. That would mean taking your designs, adding them to blank templates that the Zazzle platform gives you onto certain products, then you post them into your virtual store, and then you sell them and you make a royalty. And that has resulted in us making combined $1.5 million. Yeah. Still sometimes unbelievable.
And counting too.
And counting. So much money from being creative. Mm-hmm. So much money from doing an online passive business. So much security in having done this over the last 13 years in an online platform that's been steady, constant, always improving. And considering the situation that we're in now with COVID-19, it's the best place to be as an online business because people are shopping online and they're looking for unique and memorable gifts. And that's exactly what Zazzle products offer. Mm-hmm. So it's just the best business model possible in the year 2020, probably in 2021 as well, because you never know. We're not actually out of out of COVID-19, the grips of it yet, because things are still happening. So if you're looking for an online business and wondering if you can make $5,000 a month with an online business, Zazzle is actually that place, because Jen and I have been doing that for years, and not just because of COVID.
Yeah, and I wanted to ask you to touch on the fact that when you create one product, it has multiple possibilities of
Yeah, definitely, I will. Because some of the products that we made and posted for sale, remember I told you, take your creative stuff, your photography, artwork, graphic design, post it onto a product, and it's virtual, right? So there's no waste. It's only when the customer buys it that Zazzle prints it or makes it. So right now it's just all digital, and you can post these digital products without limit, except for 100,000 products worth. But I think we can do a lot of good in terms of making that many products. You don't need to, though. We don't have that many, but that's the limit. So there is a limit, but there's not really a limit. And if you make a product back in, like when we made products back in 2008 and 2009 during the last recession, those products are still selling for us, even though we made them back then. So we worked once, but we make money often. And that's one of the things that we love about this business model, because it's very profitable. So you spent a certain amount of time making that product. It caught on. It started to sell. It became a bestseller. It's consistently selling either month after month or year after year. depending on if it's like a seasonal. And then all of a sudden you realize, wow, it's 10 years later and that product has made you $100,000. That's what the case is with some of my products and some of yours too. $30,000, $40,000, $50,000. One product, a couple of hours of work way back in the, like a couple of years ago. So we love this business model because while you're not working on those products, because you made that one product a long time ago and it's working for you now, the other products that you could be making in the same, like during that time that you're not working, can add to your pocket of, or your inventory, as we like to call it, of stash of really good performing products that ultimately become your source of that $5,000 a month income level. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, it is possible because we've done it. Our students have done it, both in the Profit by Design Academy and in our newest program, the Z Supercharger. Yeah. They're already crushing it. It's awesome. So we need to help you understand that this could be a possibility for you. So we've got 5 strategies, which we talk about a lot in our courses. We're going to talk about them here, give you an overview of what it is that you need to have in place. You need those 5. You can't just do 2 or 3 or 1, 5. They all need to work together cohesively. They're intertwined. But then you've got like an online passive income money-making machine. And on top of it, it's because of your creativity, which is so hard, right? How can you make money in any way with your creativity? It's hard. It's not like you are doing like a fitness health program, or it's not like you're doing accounting services for someone where people really need it. This is a extra. This is a bonus. This is something that normally people would only spend their money on if they paid for everything else. But now with Zazzle being an opportunity, which is very profitable because you don't have any inventory and it's only your time and a computer, you start to realize, wow, my costs are really far down. Something I made 2, 3 years ago or 10 years ago could still sell today. All of that creates this really amazing business model that you can use to profit from, because e-commerce is booming. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes.
So let's go into the 5 strategies very quickly, but you're going to get the essence of everything.
And we created I just wanted to jump in and say, I know that you said that these 5 strategies are unnecessary, but we created these 5 strategies. There are signature 5 strategies that Elka created because we've had so many amazing experiences on Zazzle, but a lot of learning experiences too. And we realized that these 5 strategies are a must to create our perceivable, passive, and profitable business, which are our 3 pillars of our framework that we need to implement into our Zazzle business, because ultimately you want to create a perceivable and passive and profitable business online with Zazzle. That's why you're here. That's why you're a Zazzle designer. It's because you want to create that passive income that you love, and you're creating a business that you enjoy doing, not that you're slogging and you're working very, very hard for very little results. So these 5 strategies are our signature ones that we implement and we use to this day too, to create a business that works for us, that we love.
Yes, and to get to those 5K months. And also our students are starting to get to those 5K months implementing these strategies. So here we go. Thanks so much for giving us the credit here, because it's true. We worked so hard on making Zazzle work for us. And we were always wondering, like, why isn't it working? Mm-hmm. Why isn't it working? What are we not doing that's necessary? And one of the things was we weren't treating it as a business. Right. And so the 5 strategies are actually focused around that they're reminding you that you have to treat it as a business. The second thing is that we weren't taking ownership and responsibility for what we were putting out there. And that's something we got from Jack Canfield, even, like, because the 100% of your actions you're responsible for them, of the outcome, right? Mm-hmm. And if you don't take ownership of that, then all is lost, because if you're taking certain actions right now and you're not actually receiving the result that you want, it's because of the actions that you're taking. And those are your choices to make those actions. So once we started realizing we have to do different actions to get different results, things started to work for us. And that's how we said, then when someone asked us, or actually lots of people asked us to put this together in a course, we thought, well, what are the core things that we realize are necessary in order for someone else, not just us, to be successful on Zazzle to that extent and to that degree. I almost said degree and extent. And so we want you to be aware of that it could not be basically like, it doesn't have to be that you are not good enough to sell, or that you don't know how to run a business, or that your designs aren't something someone else wants, or you're not a good artist, or you're not a great graphic designer, or you're not a good promoter. We weren't any of those things before we started. We taught ourselves, and we learned, and we got teachings and trainings from other people on how to become really good at designing, really good at business. But no one was actually dealing with the Zazzle business. So that's where we come in, because you can still get training from all the business gurus. You can get training from all the social media gurus. You can get training from all of the people who talk to you about time management and running a business and becoming a CEO. But they can't all be put together with Zazzle as the point of focus without training from someone who's actually been through the Zazzle system and has done what's necessary on Zazzle to get to the level of 5K a month. And that's how the strategies came about. And they're very tailored to Zazzle. So let's start with this. So there's like core key principles, but then related to Zazzle. So establish is the first strategy, and it is all about you doing two different things. First, you're going to establish your company, right? Because it's not just you putting your stuff up on Zazzle, it's you creating a company, even if it just means opening up the Zazzle store, but you're creating a company. And once you start to realize, yeah, it's a company, oh my gosh, okay, that first of all just takes you to a different mindset level. Yeah. And also what you're doing is you realize that it's not just you put something out on Zazzle as a product and you're waiting for sales. It's all of a sudden, I need to help my customer, because if you were McDonald's or if you were like a big brand box store name, or even something like Amazon has a brand. Amazon you know what Amazon does. It's an online shopping space that has multiple different sellers. Why do you know that? Because it's their brand. That's what they do. And they communicated that to us as customers. So that's what you need to do. And you either know what you know about as Amazon. You may like them, you may not like them. You may trust them, you may not trust them. But those three aspects are very important to be part of who your company are, like what your company is and who you are going to be serving. And that customer that you're going to be serving needs to know, like, and trust you. And so by creating that brand, creating that company, even though it's just an account on Zazzle, if you do some branding work, you put some messaging out there, you are going to establish your company. So that's strategy number one. But it was a two-parter. So the second part is skill sets, right?
Yeah, you can go for it. I just wanted to also say that there's a huge shift from just, as you said, you use the word just, which is, I just have a store on Zazzle. Yeah. And when it's online and it's digital and it's virtual, sometimes we don't realize that we're creating an actual business, because we're used to having businesses be brick and mortar or like physical places actually in like a physical space. And so when you make that mindset shift to thinking that it's an actual business or a company, or you are creating a brand for yourself, then you start to take actions quite differently than you would normally if you just thought, hey, I'm just, having fun and creating designs. And I personally can say, I can say that from my experiences, that as soon as I made that shift, I said, holy smokes, I'm actually creating a business. People are buying my stuff from all around the world, and people are physically receiving my products and sending them out to their bridesmaids, their wedding invitees, etc. And like, because I focus on wedding occasions and invitations and stationery, when I made that shift and I actually thought that someone was physically holding my product in their hand and using that product and
for something so special as a wedding even.
And I was providing a service to them, I realized that, wow, I need to make that mindset shift and realize that I'm creating an actual business and I'm creating something for myself and creating a brand. And I want to be recognized as that.
Yes, exactly. So the second part of establishing your business, which is strategy number one, is establishing yourself, right? And that may seem really weird because we come at this business as creatives and we go, well, people just will want to buy my stuff because it's awesome. But ultimately, we have to, as creatives, become business owner. So you have to get skills, increase your skill sets on anything to do with how to run a company, how to make decisions, what to focus on in terms of producing, and what kind of things you need to do, like monitoring your success or monitoring your failures and figuring out what to do when those failures happen, and not just go and eat a tub of ice cream and watch some reruns of your favorite show, which we've done in the past. But when we realize that's not really helping us with our Zazzle business, then we realize, okay, we got to get back at it. How can we make it happen? Do different actions, and let's see if those work. And so the other thing that we realize, though, too, is it takes certain skills to literally post and present the products to the Zazzle marketplace and the customers. So even if I might have some amazing photography of like landscapes or beach scenes or something, unless I know exactly how to post those images directly onto the products specifically meant for those so that they really showcase my photograph, then I'm losing out, because I'm doing a lot of work posting these things up, but then I don't actually focus in on how it looks to the customer or how the customer can find it, and how I market it, either physically, like with doing social media or Pinterest, or organically, which means doing SEO work. And all of these things, which is search engine optimization for anyone who doesn't know what SEO means. But the key here is that those skills needed to be developed on our end as well, because we didn't change our designs. We didn't do other things. We just got better at posting on the Zazzle marketplace so that customer got the product they wanted, and we got it, we had it found by that customer. So do you have any more to say on that before I move to strategy 2?
No, but I think that they are both very much together, because when you make that shift between hobby and business, then you're going to actually invest in yourself and make those skill set changes too, because you want to learn and you want to implement things for your business and you want to take action. So yeah.
Exactly. And that's what we've noticed. And that's why we introduced actually the Z Supercharger, because that program is going to help you with that skill set. And our Creative CEO Mastermind helps you with the business end of things in terms of getting that know, like, and trust factor out there and managing your time, managing your business. So establish is really important, because if you don't establish, you don't have a business, and the business can't sell. So that's the key. You have a really good foundation, and those two options for if you want to get training with us are there for you to help you with each of those parts of establishing your business.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, you can still establish your business somewhat on your own, but this is more complex than you realize. And that's one of the things we realized when we first started. It's like, well, how come it didn't work? And it's because of these two pieces that were really core. And that's why it's strategy number 1 and establishing your business, because it just changes everything in terms of how you take action. And as again, you're responsible for 100% of your actions and the outcomes. And so we wanted a different outcome. We got a different we took different action, and therefore we actually saw that payoff.
Yeah.
So strategy number 2 is create. And obviously create means make something, right? So we're creating our product inventory. And if you work backwards and you do the math, $5,000 a month means that if you divide by 30, let's do that as an average, you're going to have to be bringing in income of $160 per day.
167.
Sorry, 167 per day. Yes. Sorry. And then 167 per day. And that is not your sales. That's your royalties, which you're going to take home. And that is, in our case, we set our products at about 10% royalty to make us be competitive in the marketplace, but not so cheap that we won't ever make any money from our sales. We have to do a lot more work. So this is like a nice sweet spot where we say 10%, awesome. This works really well for us. And the thing that we realize is like, how do we still make $167 a day? That seems like so much, even though you've broken it down from 5,000 seems a lot. How do you get to 167 a day? Well, it turns out that if you have a nice mix of product inventory, you can actually get that to happen. And let's just take some examples. So if you, like Jen, she's in the invitation area, which you don't have to be in the invitation area to make money on Zazzle, because I'm actually not so much in the invitation area. I sell so much more. I have only a couple of invites that are doing well, but Jen does a lot. So be careful. Don't assume something if you don't actually know specifically what's happening. But if let's just take an example of something that people buy in bulk. So that there is an advantage to being in the occasions area, because if they're purposed for bulk purchases, which means like weddings or big birthdays or graduation or anything to do with holiday cards, for example. And we're taping this episode right before the holidays. So everyone's going to be sending out their holiday greeting cards or their holiday flat cards or whatever. And they're going to be giving out a message to the people that they want to send out to. And if you're not just buying some box cards in the dollar store or something like that, then you're literally spending a good chunk of change in order to send out 100 to 200 cards to your friends and family over the holidays. That's when the customer comes to Zazzle and goes, I want something unique and different that I can customize. And so you can get a really good sale out of that. And the volume is there. So you can be making anywhere from $10 to $20 from one of these examples of these bulk orders, whether it's holiday or some sort of occasion. And so very easily, you would just need to make 10 sales a day, and you've more than surpassed your 167 per day, right? However, you can also do some other things. You can sell in bulk, volume, small things that are only going to give you somewhere between $1 to $2 a day or per product sale, and you just have to sell more of them. Or you can actually sell really high-priced items that are in the Zazzle marketplace, something like duvet covers or cell phone cases or luggage. What else is really high-priced? Also even canvases. And then those, again, come to about $10 to $20 per sale. And so then all of a sudden it's like, okay, it's easy to have 10 people come. But what our mindset doesn't get around is, how do we sell 10 canvases to 10 different people in a day? That's not going to happen, actually. But you'll sell one canvas, and then you'll sell one cell phone case, and you'll sell one duvet cover, and you'll sell one of this, etc. And all of a sudden you realize you do have that inventory working for you that's going to get you to more than 167 a day.
I just wanted to jump in too and say that sometimes when we break it down into the amount of money that we have to make per day, it seems manageable. And we as Zazzle designers think, okay, I've got this, I can do it. But just like what Elka said right now, in terms of breaking it down in terms of products that you need to sell and the actual amounts that you receive when you sell that product as a royalty, we as Zazzle designers sometimes forget to actually even create those products.
Yeah.
So, we say, yeah, it's easy, it's fine, it's all good. I can make $167 a day, no problem. But then when you go into your store, you realize that you only have very small price point items, and you have to sell literally hundreds and hundreds of things per day to get to $167 per day. And so that's also part of what we talk about in our signature course, the Profit by Design Academy, and touch on in the Z Supercharger, is to make sure that you have created, which is a second strategy that we're talking about right now, that you've created the proper types of products to get to your goal, which at this point in time, we're talking about making $5,000 per month in this episode.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, it's happened to us as well. Yeah. We go in, we go, oh, wow, this business card is really selling so well. And then, or like just as an example, I just pulled a product out of my thought of a business product, and it's all of a sudden selling so well. And you go into your inventory. I've done this myself, and I realize it's the only business card I have, or it's the only item that I have that design on, one or the two. And so by doing the last strategy, which is analyze, you come across those anomalies where you realize you just forgot, or you haven't thought about it. Well, and you realize, okay, I could actually be making so much more money. And that's how you ultimately increase to $5,000 a month.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't even talking about switching designs. I'm just actually saying physically having those products. Like a lot of Zazzle designers don't have duvet covers. They don't have cornhole sets. They don't have golf balls. They don't have the et cetera, et cetera. And when you look at the numbers, you think it's quite easy to make $167 a month, or maybe even hard.
A day.
But a day, not a month. But you don't realize that to get there, you have to have a certain set of products. Yes. And if you're just selling, let's say, stickers. you're not going to make that quite easily. You're going to have to sell hundreds and hundreds of stickers per day to get to that amount.
Yes.
So
make it easy on yourself.
Yes.
Because that's what it's all about. We want to create passive income in large quantity.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So that's create. So strategy number 3, obviously, you know what's next. If you make something, you've got to tell somebody about it in order for them to know that you even have it for sale. And this is where a lot of our students and also our community really feel uncomfortable, because it's like, I'm a creative. They should just see it and like it. I don't feel very well selling. That's not me. I feel icky to sell. Mm-hmm. And we're just here to say that it's not that kind of sales pitch kind of thing that you need in order to be successful. We hardly ever do that. Like, we actually no ever do that, because we don't like that. We announce or promote organically. And we make sure that we're servicing the customer in a way that like they can find stuff, and then they will see it on its own merit as you want it to be. But first you have to get it out there. And so there's 2 different ways to do that: passively through search engine optimization, which is SEO, and then actively through social media. Do you want to jump in? Or
Sure, I can jump in. For organically, we're going to talk about very good titles and tags. And I know that we speak a lot about titles and tags, but it's extremely important, because if you don't do your titles and tags properly on Zazzle, first of all, your product probably won't be found, or it's not going to be placed in the right area or section on the Zazzle marketplace. And your titles and tags actually affect your external SEO. Like when somebody searches on Google, I want to find a really cute unicorn birthday party invitation, Zazzle products show up on the search bar, because Zazzle pumps a lot of money into advertising for external proper uses. And so if you don't have your titles and tags proper, that's not going to help you in the long run. So there's internal and external organic marketing going on with titles and tags. When you create a product on Zazzle, you're basically creating, let's say, a landing page or a web page. You're creating a new space on the universe, the interweb universe. And so if you don't label it properly, no one's going to find it. How do you find things on Google? When you go in and you say cute dog videos come up on Google, because all of the websites or all of the Instagram posts have those titles or tags or some things labeled with cute dog videos. You're doing the exact same thing with one of your Zazzle products. And if you don't have those titles and tags proper, people and potential customers are not going to find your products on the internal marketplace on Zazzle and also externally. And so that's something that you can do super easily. You don't have to pay for anything. There's no advertising fees here. It's just literally making sure that your titles and tags are proper so that your customers can find your products.
And what for anyone who's listening to this and realizing, or even watching on YouTube, titles and tags, we say it's almost like a little lyrical thing. Yeah, but when you post each product, you have to give it a title, which is your web URL. Yeah. Zazzle.com/ and then something that you're going to give as a title, and that's going to be your URL. And then also the tags, which are additional keywords that are sort of added to that URL as a page. Mm-hmm. And so this is pure, if you're a blogger or anyone else doing videos on YouTube, you already do this naturally. So now you have to do this with your Zazzle products, each individual one. Mm-hmm. And that requires some training and some getting used to in terms of making sure that you are posting the right keywords on your title and your tags for each of those products, so that they can actually be found by a customer who might be actually looking for them. But if you don't title it and tag it properly, they're never going to find it. Yeah. So, and then the other way to actively announce your products is to do something with social media. Mm-hmm. And our suggestion is Pinterest. Mm-hmm. That's always our go-to. It's more of a search engine than it is an active social media site, and therefore there's less worry about being active. And we like anything that's passive, so that we can watch our money coming in and not be working at the same time. Mm-hmm. Because we're not trading dollars for our hours for dollars anymore. We are running a passive income online e-commerce business. And so the Pinterest option, where you can post things on a board, and even 5, 6, 10 years from now, someone can find it. And because they searched your keywords, remember the announce, the first part, of the SEO, that again is going to help you, because then they'll find it, they'll put it on their board. Then later on, they'll go, oh, I like this, click through to the Zazzle marketplace, buy it, cash in your hand. Yeah. And so that's how you can build out your inventory. It's almost like employees going out and doing sales for you. So it's no longer icky, and you're not you're not making weird sales pitches or anything. You're not just going, buy me, buy me, buy me. You're literally just providing a service, because you're providing information that, hey, I have this product and this is for this use. And they put it on their Pinterest boards, and they're basically doing the buying or selling for themselves. And so it's no longer icky.
Yeah. And it's actually super easy too. Yeah, fun. It's so much fun.
So much fun.
Yeah.
So strategy number 4, align.
Yes.
Now, this is really important, because it's aligning a couple of things. You have to align yourself. Remember, we talked about that in the establish strategy number 1, where you have to go from it's a hobby, or it's just some things that I open an account on Zazzle, to it's a company, it's a business. And so we have to align our mindset as designers and as business owners to that mindset that, yeah, we're actually expecting money from something that we're doing, but we have to show up as the person and do the actions that are required to actually create that income that we are expecting. Mm-hmm. The second thing is to align your business with your lifestyle and your freedoms that you want to have.
So yeah, you have to align your business with the lifestyle and freedoms that you want to have. So alignment sometimes is actually maybe even the hardest out of the strategies, because it has to feel good with who you are, right?
Because you're aligning with your lifestyle, right? We're actually just celebrating our launch of RC Supercharger,
the official launch.
And so if you're watching this later, it's not going to be the same day, because you're maybe watching this as a video replay. But that's what we're doing. We're aligning what we want to use our Zazzle money for, and you need to do the same in terms of what do you want to get out of it.
Yeah.
It's not just a matter of making money. It's a matter of how you can use money as a tool to align it with what you want to do in life and what you want to do and give back in your life.
Yeah. And this is very much connected with your why and who you are and exactly what you want. And it's not, try and think of it as removing like the monetary aspect of earning income on Zazzle. Why do you want to do this? Why are you serving your customers? Why are you building an online business? Why do you want to choose passive online income? And when it comes from the soul and when it comes from the heart, it is so much more with passion, and it is very much more aligned with everything that you do going forward. And this ties in, as we said, with establish. Once you treat it not as a hobby, but as a business, and it feels truly like this is in your heart what you want to do, all of the business decisions that you make going forward and everything that you put into all of your designs, everything that you create on Zazzle is just going to be like, it's going to have a shining light on all of them, and it's going to feel so much more amazing and with who you are than from what you've done before, thinking that you're only looking at it with a monetary aspect, or you're only doing it
out of fear or
out of
lack
fear.
of ability to me be successful. All of a sudden it's like, no, I have to serve this customer. My artwork is really awesome. I need to get it out there, or my photography or my graphic design skills.
Yeah. And also you want to obviously create a passive online income. That's why we're here. And you want to have the freedoms that come along with that passive online income, whether that be to spend more time with your family, whether that be to just
travel the world,
enjoy life, retire early, take care of family members, etc. And we have all had one of those goals, whether that be now or later on in the future. But this business that we're building, we have to think about those things now, because sometimes, especially in this time, during this age of instant gratification, you want everything now. And you're like, I want this now. And this Zazzle business that we want you to create is not an instant gratification. It takes a little bit of work. It takes a lot of smart work, and it takes time to build up. But when you use that time efficiently and effectively using these 5 strategies that we're speaking to you about, you can create those 5K months.
Gain time back.
Yeah. And you gain, exactly. You gain time back. And then you also are able to build up a potential business that makes you 5K months or even more, which is really awesome, because ultimately that's your end goal, is that you want to build a business that works for you, not that you're working for it. And that's very much in alignment with who you are and your lifestyle and who you are at your core and what you can do to serve your customers.
Yes. And we initially worked very hard on our business, and we weren't working smart. So that's what we teach our students now, is now we learned from our mistakes, and we're telling people how to do things properly so they can still work hard, but they're working smart so that the work actually pays off. And then the other thing is that our students actually get told, try to do it in 20 hours a month. So that's 5 hours a week. And everyone goes, you're crazy, I can't do that. But if you have the tools, if you know what you need to do, and because you've been given a roadmap of people who've done it before, and just do this and it'll work kind of thing. Even though we can't make any income claim statements, there's always variables involved. But a lot of students who have gone through the Profit by Design Academy or any of our training, they're seeing really great results. And because of that, we're pretty confident to say, if you do the work and you deliver products that people want to buy, you should be in a position to sell. And the fact that you can do it within 20 hours seems impossible. And yet we've actually had one or two students who have gone to the extent of monitoring their hours since they started, and then giving us the results and saying, I've just basically been doing 20 hours a month. And then actually one of our students, Brandon, who we've also done a podcast about, we'll have to put that in the show notes for what episode that is. The story about Brandon is that he wanted to prove us wrong, actually, but he proved us right and has profited in the meantime, because he has now made over $100,000 in Zazzle take-home money. And so that means he sold over $1 million worth of Zazzle products. And he's done it with a full-time job, highly responsible business that he's working in. So like it's not something where he can, it is tiring and taxing. So when he comes and puts his mind into doing 5 hours a week of Zazzle work, he has to be really effective, and he's done it. And so I want to challenge you to think, it's possible if you want to, if you're determined, if you align yourself with your business and you say, I want to make this work and I want to make that extra $5,000 a month, because it could be such a huge difference for me in my life. It could be the difference between me working this job I hate to me being home working a job I love, which is your own business, or not having to be in a certain office. Like with COVID right now, some people have to literally go back to work because the boss said yes, and there's no legal recourse, and you're scared to death that you might get, somewhere in your commute or working with your coworkers, you're literally exposing yourself, and you don't want that. And that's a true fear. That's not a made up fear. And we feel really blessed and grateful for the fact that we don't need to make that choice, because we're actually still working on Zazzle and making money on Zazzle so that we don't have to be going out to work. That's a part of our income stream, that we have Zazzle as our business. And we are so grateful that we have that right now in this situation. And then now I want to get to the next part and say, when you start having your business set up so that it's working for you and it's making the amount of money that you can that you want, whether that's 100,000, 60,000 or less or more, then there's ways to actually run this business in about 4 hours a month, not 20 hours a month, which is what we're doing right now. And that's why we have so much time to give back to you and do more training and things like that for people who are interested in getting the same results.
Yeah. And well, the reason why we're doing this podcast right now and we've created our courses is because we see, and we have seen, that it's possible for people to make money online, as you said, 100,000 or 60,000, or maybe you're only making a couple $100s a month, but there's always room for improvement. And that's exactly where we were as well at the beginning when we first started out on Zazzle. We weren't making the thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars.
It took us a while.
It took us a while, but now we realize what works and what doesn't. And that's exactly why we're talking to you about these 5 strategies in this podcast episode.
Not holding back.
These 5 strategies moved us from the $100 or a couple $100 a month, or even cents a month. I remember my first couple of months on Zazzle, I was making dollars, like not even you know, when you say teens or
$90
20s,
was my first year. That's all I made all year long.
90 divided by 12. That's like, less than $10 a month, which I'm sure you've been there or you are there or you want to move forward. And so this is what we've learned and what we've created and realized that works, these 5 strategies. And the reason why we were able to make that shift from, as I said, making hundreds or $100 a month to making thousands of dollars a month to actually making consistent $5,000 a month and even more. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yes.
So the last strategy then is analyze. So I'm going to recap because I know this podcast episode has been quite long. We've explained a lot of things, but establish, create, announce, align, and now the last one is analyze. And analyze is a really good recapper because it brings it all the way back to the front in the first strategy. Because when you analyze your store, you realize what's working and what's not working. And you work through all of the other strategies and you look really deep and you do a deep dive into your store analytics, your store views, your product views, your sales, and you realize what's selling and what's working and what's not working for you and why things aren't selling. And you take that data and you make strategic action steps to fix it. And then you go through all the strategies again. Because analyzing, I know it's scary. It's really scary. A lot of our students actually hate the analyzation part because it makes you super vulnerable and makes you look at what's going on in your Zazzle store and actually makes you accountable for recognizing what's working and what's not, right? It's really nice and fun.
Sometimes,
it's really nice and fun to be like, it's working, and you kind of just leave it, and you're like, I don't need to look at it. It's
working,
it's working. But when you actually sit down and you analyze things, you're vulnerable and you're opening up yourself to actually making, action steps to move yourself forward. And it's okay to make mistakes. Yeah. It's okay to say, you know what I did last month actually isn't working for me.
Sucked.
But you have to recognize the fact that it's not working, and you have to make the action steps or take the action steps to move forward and realize what will work or tweak some things, right? I've been there. I've made mistakes.
Yeah. And I think it's so important that everyone just realizes that this is going to move them forward. Yeah. Because if you do the same actions over and over again, you're going to expect different results. It's a misquoted Einstein quote because it's not, he didn't actually say that, but you've heard it before, right? It's, you can't get different actions from this, results from the same actions. Mm-hmm. And so you look at your actions maybe once a month or something like that, and you see what the results are. And if you don't like those results, then you have to take different action. And what could that action be? Yeah. And the nice part is there's always a plus and there's always a minus. So the minus and the negative would be, oh, shoot, that didn't work. But then the plus is that I won't do that anymore because it's not helping anyway. So why bother? Mm-hmm. Or the positive is, well, I'm doing really well on this is really working. The negative is, shoot, I have more work to do because this is actually working really well. So I have to do this. But that's a good shoot because it means you now have a roadmap and a path in order to continue to multiply your income on what's working already. And that's how we did it. That's all we did. We had a lot of things that never worked. And then we saw like a glimmer of hope. And all of a sudden, yes, that's working. Okay, what else could I put it on? Mm-hmm. What else could I do with this? Could I put it in a different niche? Could I do this? And those things, allowing ourselves to see that and like facing the reality that 90% of our stuff didn't work, and actually coming close, it was more like 99% of our stuff didn't work at the beginning, but then slowly over time, 80% of our efforts were giving us 20% of our income, and 20% of our efforts were giving 80% of our income, which is kind of a weird thing, but it's a rule that it can be applied in multiple different ways. But when we realized that if we focused in on that 20% that was actually making us 80% of our income, then it started to get more passive in terms of our business. And it also became much more lucrative because that 20% was more manageable. And that created the most amount of income for us. And so then you can build on that. You can take that and move forward. Mm-hmm. So I just wanted to give that as a little boost at the end, because when you get to the analysis part, we were in slumps at some point. We're like, literally, okay, shut my computer, don't work at it at Zazzle for a week or even a month. It's not working. I'll leave it.
Because of the analyzing part it's true. You can get into a really dark space with that, right?
Yeah.
Because you're like, I'm not making sales. And then we've had students there, and we've been there as well, where you open up your computer, you're super excited to see how many sales you've made, and it's a big fat 0. And then all of a sudden you just want to stop and forget about everything to do with Zazzle.
I'm never going to do Zazzle again. But then it turns out it's not a good thing to not do Zazzle again, because look at where we've come to now.
But I think what you should really take home from this is that by doing the analysis, yes, it's very hard at this moment in time to see either 0 sales or less sales or no sales or whatever, but you're understanding now why those things are happening, right? You're looking at what's going on, and you're making a change and going forward.
Exactly. And so that's how we want to leave you on a positive note, because as you move forward, and if you don't feel comfortable doing this, you can always get help, either our free training or our paid course and coaching and programs. We've got a lot of different options for you. Start with the Profit by Design Academy. That gives you the core and teaches you all of these 5 strategies, because that's what they're based on. Like, the whole course is putting all of these strategies into place. And then you'll feel so much more confident to move forward and constantly do these 5 strategies, because as you've just heard, you need to do all 5. Otherwise, it's not going to work for you. It didn't work for us until we implemented all 5. It doesn't work for our students until they implement all 5. And so it's, and Jen said, it's a full circle, because as you're analyzing, you're actually checking up on all those other things. Was I really good at doing my establishing, my branding, my skill sets? Was I really good at making sure that I had enough products that were actually going to be able to make those sales for me so that I could get to 5,000? Where was I actually promoting them properly, either passively with good SEO or with social media efforts? Was I aligned with how much I worked and what goals I expected and my actions that I took? And then we get back to analysis, and you go, did I do a good job? Probably. And if you didn't do a good job, it's like, okay, I can do better.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for watching, or watching on YouTube and listening to us here.
Yeah. I just wanted to say, it should never be scary, and it shouldn't be something that you are worried about. It's just a learning experience.
It's fun.
And where we were as well, when we first started out on Zazzle, it was always a learning experience. And even today is always a learning experience. It's a learning experience. I learned something today that I didn't know yesterday that I can use to help my business move forward and become even more profitable. So
and the main thing is just surround yourself with people who are positive and who are willing to, like, just look at things that are an issue or a barrier, and they just kind of look at it as an obstacle. It's like, oh yeah, I could just fix it by doing this, or just having that positive mindset that says it's possible, go for it, let's do it. And that in itself will really help you move forward, since this is quite a lonely business in terms of being online in the online space. Get yourself a good tribe around you, get the right training so that you don't have to waste time, and then implement these 5 strategies, and we'll see you at the 5K month mark. Not that we can make any income claim statements, but it's really fun when you get there.
And that's our biggest mission and goal for you, is that we wish that you are able to create a passive online business using Zazzle and reach those 5K months or more.
Thank you so much for listening to The Creative and Ambitious Entrepreneur with Jen and Elka Clark.
We hope this episode has given you actionable steps to start and scale your Zazzle business so that you can have the passive online income to have location and time freedom to live your dream life.
If you've enjoyed this episode, please take a minute to subscribe, rate, and review the podcast. Each review helps us reach more creative entrepreneurs like you working to create a profitable e-commerce business.
And don't forget to take a screenshot and share it on your Instagram stories and tag us at Miss Jen Clark and at Elka Clark. We'd love to hear your biggest takeaways from today's episode. See you back here next week.